بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني من نور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Inshallah, today we start chapter 6 of the second part of the book. As you remember, we had al-Maqsad al-Salis fil Hujaj wal-Amarat. This by itself was divided into two sections, two maqam. Al-Maqam al-Awwal has 7 parts, 7 chapters. We are now going to 6th chapter, which is Hujjiyatul Aql. So, as you know, our ulama mention Aql as one of the 4 sources for understanding Islamic rulings. Al-Adillatul Arba'a. One of them is Aql, Al-Kitab wa Sunnah wal-Aql wal-Ijma. Before we discuss the role of Aql in religion, in Sharia, we have to make few points as introduction. First, as you have studied in mantiq, in logic, al-idrak al-aqli, what we can understand by our aql, is divided into something which is daruri or badihi or self-evident, or something which is nazari or speculative. Yeah? ينقسم الإدراك العقلي إلى إدراك نظري وإدراك عملي. Then those things which are badihi or tasdiqi can be also divided, Assalamu alaikum, both of them, into something which is related to what is or what is not, or to what should be done or should not be done. Okay? So, we have, in the end, 4 different possibilities. Some understanding about what is or what is not, which is badihi, al-idrak al-nazari al-badihi. We have something about what is not, but in need of argument. This is al-idrak al-nazari. Also nazari in the second sense, in the sense that it needs speculation and argument. We have al-idrak al-amali, about what should be done, what should be not done, again, which is badihi. And we have al-idrak al-amali, which is not badihi, which is speculative. So there can be 4 options. You can discuss this in another way. Aql nazari, aql amali, theoretical reason or practical reason. Or he says al-idrak al-nazari, al-idrak al-amali. In any case, the role of aql is either to inform us about realities, what is there in the world, what is not, or about practical instructions. What should be done, what should be said, or what should not be done, what should not be said. Okay? So we have 2 types of understanding, and each of them can be self-evident or can be speculative. ينقسم الإدراك العقلي إلى إدراك نظري وإدراك عملي. Intellectual understanding is divided into theoretical understanding and practical understanding. And each of them has 2 types, but he doesn't mention here. فالأول إدراك ما ينبغي أن يعلم. Understanding what should be known. Understanding what is there, what is not there. Okay? Here you want to know. For example, understanding existence of creator, understanding attributes of the creator, understanding actions of the creator, and other things. It's not only theology. In theology it's this, but there are many sciences that are related to nazari. But we have also practical. And in practical understanding, we are not interested in knowing what is the case. We want to know what should be done. Okay? إدراك ما ينبغي أن يعمل. What should be done? Like حسن العدل. When we say al-adlu hasanun, it's different from saying today it's warm. Or for example, say God exists, angels exist. Contradiction does not exist. Husnul adl is something about practical understanding. What should be done, what should be said. Qubh al-dhulm, ugliness of injustice. Wujub radd al-wadi'a, necessity of giving back the trust, delivering back the trust. If someone has put something as a trust, as an amana, as a deposit, a wadi'a with you, you have to give it back. وَتَرْكَ الْخِيَانَةَ فِيهَا means تَرْكَ الْخِيَانَةَ فِي الْوَدِيعَةِ. You cannot betray with respect to the trust. So, what we understand by aql is either to discover some of the facts, or it is about understanding some of the norms and values and what has to be done or what should not be done. Okay? Al-Thani, the second introduction. Again in mantiq, in logic. For many times we have seen how these sciences help each other. When you understand mantiq, it helps you in usul. Usul helps you in aqaid helps you in philosophy, and all are connected. One of the things you learned in mantiq is that there are three types of reasoning or argument. Al-istiqra', al-tamthil, al-qiyas. Sometimes you go from particulars and reach universal. سير العقل من الجزئيات إلى الكلي. Istiqra' in English is called induction. Induction means to exhaust different individuals of a universal concept or rule. For example, if we want to prove that water boils in 100 degrees centigrade, okay? What do scientists do? They test many different instances of water, and then if they see in all these instances water boils at 100, they make a universal claim. But istiqra' can be one of the two. Either istiqra' is kamil, is complete, or is naqis, incomplete. In most of the cases, actually, istiqra' is not complete. Because can you do test for all waters of the world? Even if you do all the waters of the world, what about tomorrow? Yeah? Therefore, scientists have to somehow jump from the cases that they have tested to a universal concept. In any case, in fiqh, for us, istiqra' tam is not hujjah like any other place, and istiqra' kamil is also not relevant. Because if you have been able to study all the cases, then what are you looking for? Means you have already known. Okay? So, istiqra is not useful. Tamthil. Tamthil here means analogy. You know the ruling for something and try to extend it to something similar. السير من جزئي إلى جزئي مشابه. Is it clear? You know something. For example, you know ruling of wuzu. You want to extend it to ghusl. Or you know, for example, the ruling of salat. You want to extend it to fasting. You say these are similar, for example. Again, this doesn't work in fiqh. In what do we call this in fiqh and usul al-fiqh? Qiyas. So, at-tamthil al-mantiqi huwa al-qiyas al-fiqhi. Yeah? It doesn't work. Because you have to be sure that they are really similar. They are in the ruling and the philosophy of legislation similar. Not just they look similar to you.
So qiyas means guessing, is it?
Qiyas means tamthil in mantiq or analogy. Means you know something and you want to extend it to a similar case. But you cannot prove that they are identical in ruling. If you can prove, that's not a problem. We have qiyas mansus al-illah. You remember? For example, it is said, don't eat lemon because it is sour. Then you can understand that, okay, you should not also drink orange juice that is sour. If the reason for hukm is explicitly mentioned. Otherwise, no. The third type of istidlal is what we call qiyas, syllogism. Qiyas. Qiyas is as-sayru min al-kulli ila al-juz'i. So istiqra was min al-juz'i ila al-kulli. You collect lots of information about particulars and you want to come up with a general rule. This is istiqra. And we said it doesn't work. Then min al-juz'i ila al-juz'i, this is tamthil. It doesn't work. Min al-kulli ila al-juz'i, you have a universal, a general rule and apply it to particular cases. This can work. You have to be sure that that universal rule is correct, is reliable. Question: can we have min al-juz'i ila al-juz'i? Sorry, min al-kulli ila al-kulli. We had juz'i min al-juz'i like tamsil. Kulli ila al-kulli. They say it's the same as juz'i ila al-juz'i. Because they are at the same level. Whether it is juz'i to juz'i or kulli to kulli, it's qiyas. We cannot extend the ruling from one to the other. Okay, look at the book, please. الثاني أن الاستدلال لا يتم إلا بالاستقراء أو التمثيل أو القياس المنطقي. There can be no argument except one of the three. استقراء, induction. تمثيل, analogy. القياس المنطقي, logical, syllogism. الاستقراء الناقص لا يحتج به. Incomplete induction cannot be used for arguing. Why? Because when it is incomplete, the maximum can give you is dhann. You say it's more likely. I have tested few cases and I found this. You cannot be sure. وَلَمْ يَدُلَّ دَلِيلٌ عَلَى حُجِّيَةٍ مِثْلِهِ. we don't have anything that this type of dhan is hujjah. It's not like khabar wahid. Khabar wahid also leads to dhan, to speculation, or you can say suspicion in logical sense. But we have hujjah for khabar wahid. But here we don't have any hujjah. Amma al-istiqra' al-kamil, to go and survey all the cases. Okay, if you have survey all the cases and find that this is the ruling, then what are you looking for? There is nothing extra. أما الاستقراء الكامل فلا يعد دليلا لأنه علوم جزئية تفصيلية تصب في قالب قضية كلية عند الانتهاء. In the end of istiqra, you put them in one universal proposition, but there is nothing left unknown because you have already known all the cases. Istiqra tam means to survey, to investigate all the instances. Okay, so what you want to know? What is the one which is unknown? أما التمثيل فهو عبارة عن القياس الأصولي. القياس الأصولي, القياس الفقهي. Here we call it tamthil in logic. For example, there are two similar things. They look similar, like al-fuqa' and al-khamr. Khamr is wine. Fuqa' is beer. So we say we know wine is haram. Can we say fuqa' is haram? Or wine is najis? Can we say fuqa' is najis just because they look similar? Or we cannot say.
What is fuqa?
Beer.
Beer.
فتعين أن تكون الحجة هي القياس المنطقي. The only hujjah is one of them. Neither istiqra nor tamthil. Only syllogism, which is called in logic qiyas. But this qiyas is different from qiyas in fiqh, which is in logic tamthil. You shouldn't get confused. When in mantiq we say qiyas, it's different from that qiyas that we don't accept. That is actually the basis of philosophy, many sciences is qiyas. Yes.
Shaykhna, so I had a question about istiqra' al-kamil.
Yeah.
If we do an induction on every single case,
Yeah.
so as you mentioned, nothing remains unknown. Isn't that a good result that we've reached the conclusion, or is it simply taking many specifics and then not joining together to form a fully?
It's good that you have investigated all juz'iyya, but what are you going to get out of this? There is nothing else to discover. You have already, known each case. There is no point for arguing because al-istidlal. You remember the definition of istidlal?
Yes,
Who remembers istidlal?
it is using the knowns in a correct form of argument to reach an unknown.
حركة العقل من المراد which is مراد إلى المبادئ ومن المبادئ إلى المراد. You have a question you want to understand. Your mind is faced with first a question. Then your mind goes back to the archive and find some premises that can be useful. Work inside the archive, develop an argument, and come back to the question. But the question is now proved. Before it was just something that we wanted to prove. Yeah, we say al-matlub. When it is proved, we call it al-natija, conclusion. Yeah? So, this is the case. There are three possibilities for qiyas mantiqi. First, أن تكون الصغرى والكبرى شرعيتين. Sometimes both minor and major premises are taken from religion. Not from aql directly, from religion.
For the first premise?
Pardon? That is the first type of qiyas. That both premises, minor and major, are taken from religion. هذا pardon? نقلي. هذا يسمى بالدليل الشرعي. When both of them are شرعي, it is called شرعي. The second is both are عقلي. Minor and major are عقلي. أن تكون كلتاهما عقليتين. Both of them are عقلي. كإدراك العقل حسن العدل. Aql says that justice is good, and then Aql says that there is a correlation between goodness of justice in intellect and goodness of justice in religion. So both major and minor promises are aqli. This is what we call al-mustaqillatul aqliya. We had it before, a previous book. Al-mustaqillat means what aql independently can understand. Here aql doesn't need sharia. Is it clear? It's purely intellectual. The third is that one muqaddimah, which is sughra, is shar'i, kubra is aqli. For example, al-wudu'u muqaddamatun lis-salah. Wudu is a prerequisite for salah. Who told you this? Aql or shar? Shar. Then aql comes and tells you muqaddamatul wajibi wajibatun. So wudu becomes wajib. So one part is taken from shar, another part is taken from aql.
So then it will be the other way around.
Pardon?
Sughra can be taken from aqli and kubra can be taken from shari.
Yes. الثالث عرف الدليل العقلي بأنه حكم يتوصل به إلى حكم شرعي. What is intellectual argument? The one in fiqh we mean by intellectual or rational argument, the one that we can use to reach حكم شرعي. مثلا إذا حكم العقل بأن الاتيان بالمأمور به على ما هو عليه موجب لحصول الامتثال وسقوط الأمر. إذا حكم العقل هكذا يستدل به على أنه في شرعي كذلك. If عقل makes this judgment that bringing what you have been asked to bring in the way that you were supposed to bring is counted as obedience, and there is no more any command left. From this you can understand that Shar also has the same opinion. If Aql says implementation is enough, Shar also would say the same thing. So there would be bara'atul dhimma. Your shoulder is, your neck is not under any obligation, whether it be to do it in its time or to repeat it as qadha. Or إذا حكم العقل, for example, another case, when there is tazahum, you remember tazahum? What is tazahum? When two taklif conflict. For example, a person is drowning in someone else's house. There is a pool in someone's house. A person is drowning. We have to save innocent life. At the same time, we should not go into this property without the consent of the owner. The owner is not there. What should we do? Should we respect the property, or should we respect more the life of an innocent person? إذا حكم العقل عند التزاحم باللزوم تقديم الأهم. If aql, when there is conflict, says that what is more important should be given priority, فَيُسْتَدَلُّ بِهِ عَلَى الْحُكْمِ الشَّرْعِي. Here we can understand that the religious ruling also is the same. For example, saving someone who is drowning is more important than qasb. So here, Shar also would approve that. So one is inghadul ghariq, one is جواز التصرف في مال الغير, to use and to manipulate in someone else's property. كل ذلك توصل بالحكم العقلي للاهتداء إلى الحكم الشرعي. All of this is to use rational or intellectual ruling for understanding religious ruling. Okay, after these introductions, now we want to enter into the main discussion. Maybe a little break and we continue. Alhamdulillah.